So I played Helldivers 2 for 3 days straight, and all I can say is, it has no business being this good. It has some issues, of course, but it is just a fun game overall. But let's talk about it. Why is there this many of them? Hello? Oh, this guy is angry. Oh, this guy... Oh, get fucked. Oh, this is bad.
Oh shit, what the fuck?
Well, I'm taking the high ground. Guys, east, a lot of them. East. You better run, they're like on top of you, dude.
Oh shit!
Oh, we're getting surrounded. We gotta go, we gotta move. Yeah, get some. Yeah, I'm on their spawn. I'm gonna blow it up. Oh my god. Right, there we go. Back up, back up. Oh, no, you don't. Oh my god, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Guys? Guys? Pull back. Ah, shit, he called reinforcements. We gotta move, we gotta go. There's already too many of them. Back up, back up, back up.
You have ignited the torches of liberty. Next direction only. Extraction is available.
Liberty delivered. I would like to preface this review by saying that I have never played the original Helldivers, so I can in no way compare these games to one another. I did play a lot of similar games, but never a title like this one. But just because I play similar titles, I went into this review very skeptical, because most of the titles out there with similar gameplay mechanics either have no engaging gameplay or they're just one-hit wonders. You hit the button to buy the game, and then after a couple of hours you wonder why you even bought the damn thing. And also, before we start the video, I gotta say this one thing: this is not a sponsored review, this is not a sponsored video. I bought the game myself because one of my viewers told me that it could be good, and yeah, it was good. But let's get on with the review. And we can start talking about the most important parts, the gameplay mechanics. Overall, the gameplay is really good. The developers made a lot of weird design decisions while making this game, but in the end, all of these decisions make the game much better than it should be. As an example, all the interactions in the world are done by using the W, A, S, and D keys. So whether you're calling for an airdrop or an airstrike, or if you're arming a tactical nuke, all of it is done by pressing the directional keys in a certain order. At first, I hated the idea because I thought that the game is catering to the PS5 audience, because it is a multi-platform game. But then I realized that the game can get so hectic, and you having to use the directional keys in a certain order makes it even more hectic, because everything needs to be done fast, and if you make an error, that will cost you your life. This whole weird mechanic is very well thought out, and it just adds to the urgency because you can't move while you're doing it, and being under fire doesn't really help at all. So one could say that it takes some skill to call in an airstrike while working under pressure. The second weird decision is to restrict the player's movement every time you go into a bush or if you hit one of a gazillion spores that are on the ground. On top of that, your character's aim doesn't follow your mouse. Instead, it moves slowly to where you want to aim at. And again, I don't remember if I ever saw a mechanic like this in a third-person shooter. And in most cases, I would hate this mechanic, but in Helldivers 2, it just adds to the mayhem that is happening on the screen. It makes everything much more cinematic, and just seeing tons of tracers flying around the battlefield is simply amazing. So even though you might have a lot of hours spent in aim labs, your godlike aim will not help you that much in this game. It does help, of course, but what the developers did with this mechanic makes the game much more fun and immersive at the same time. The missions themselves vary from going to an outpost and triggering a sequence and waiting until it's done, to some a bit more complex missions where you need to carry a big-ass disk drive across the map that restricts you to only using your sidearm while getting rushed by hordes of enemies. Speaking of enemies, there are currently only 2 factions, but I have heard from the community that there are plans to have more different factions that you will have to fight in the future. The maps look great, and even though they seem like they are procedurally generated, they might not be, because they look like they're handmade. But if they are handmade, there is a literal shit ton of them. I have played for 22 hours and I didn't notice any repetition between them, so whatever the developers did, they did a great job. Although I must say that the environments are very similar, because there are currently only 4 planets that you can fight on. So even if they are procedurally generated, they feel the same, because they're using the same color schemes and the same assets. And honestly, this is just me being nitpicky, because I didn't even notice that while I was playing the game. But I can tell you that they are filled with side objectives that most of the times might be more fun than the main objectives themselves. So once you drop in, you really want to clear the whole map and do everything that you can until the timer runs out. Fighting enemy hordes is fun and really cinematic. The bugs have their own spawn points that you need to destroy by either bombing them or throwing a grenade into them. But they can also call for reinforcements that will dig their way out of the ground, and they can and will surround you and overrun you real fast. On the other hand, the robots have their own factories that you need to destroy, and they will also call for reinforcements via dropships that you can take down before they land troops. There are different types of enemies, and it's a pretty classic range of tanks, range enemies, AoE enemies, and the ones that have a soft spot on the back, of course. The game is not super inventive on that department, but I would assume that it's only going to get better, if the devs, of course, continue updating the game. But don't let this discourage you, because currently the game is just pure, unadulterated fun, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's what makes it even more fun. The only issue that I have with the gameplay is that when you finish the mission, the game starts listing your achievements, and you cannot skip that fucking segment at all, and that whole sequence can take up to 1 minute of you not playing the game. That is a thing that I simply don't get, and I would love to see it changed. You already have some downtime in your ship, because right after that whole sequence, you will be back in your ship buying upgrades and new equipment for your character and your ship itself. So I really don't understand why the developers thought that the players would like sitting through the same sequence after every single mission. So please, pretty please, if any of the developers are watching this, give us a hotfix and give us a way to skip this whole sequence, because I just don't get why we need to sit through it every single fucking time when we do a mission. Speaking of upgrades, there are no classes. Instead, you upgrade your character the way you want to, by choosing the armor you want to wear and choosing your loadouts, your gear, and your weapons. That's where the cooperation between players starts shining the most. As an example, you can airdrop manned turrets, but they will be pretty unprotected. But if another player takes a shield emitter, he can drop it on top of you, so you can gun down everything that is coming at you without worrying that you will get shot. On top of that, not only that you can upgrade your gear and loadouts, you can also upgrade your mothership and your close air support ship by having faster cooldowns or more firepower. And all of that is done by using one of the 3 currencies that are available in the game, and all of them are earnable in the game itself. So all in all, I would love to give the gameplay a 10 out of 10, but I can't, because there are simply not enough factions to fight against, and there is some stuff that needs to be skippable, but it isn't. Also, I would love to see some different gameplay mechanics. I was so excited about the jetpack, and I wanted to combo it with the grenade launcher just like it did in Star Wars Battlefront 2, but the jetpack in this game only takes you a couple of meters forward or upward, and that's it. You can't interact with the game while the jetpack animation is running. So it's a good thing to have if you want to get to a higher ground or if you need to run away from enemies, but it simply does not offer that much in terms of gameplay. So just because of that, even though the gameplay itself is solid, I simply can't give it a score above 7 out of 10 grumplings. There are also no melee weapons, and this might be just me, but being a fan of Star Wars and being a fan of Battlefront 2 or Destiny 2 for that matter, I would love to see some Warhammer type of chainsaw swords or something like that added to the game, especially if it also worked only with heavy armors. I might be asking for too much, but I would love to see different gameplay mechanics in this game, because standing still behind a rock while you're laying thousands of shells down the range can be fun, but it can and it will get old very fast. Again, it might just be me, but I would love to fly above the battlefield and rain hell on the enemies from the sky, or get up close and personal and strike them with an oversized fucking sword. But unfortunately, that is not how the game currently works, and I don't know if it's ever gonna work like that, because I'm not in touch with the developers. But anyway, let's talk about the monetization. Speaking of upgrading your characters, I would say that this is one of the best monetization models that I have seen in the past couple of years. There is some monetization for people that want to spend more money than they have to, but the thing is, you really don't have to spend a single dime more than just buying the game on Steam. First of all the monetized stuff is either purely cosmetic or will not impact your gameplay that much. At least in the 3 days that I have been playing the game, I didn't notice a single pay-to-win element in the store. And on top of that, even though you can buy the in-game currency with real money, the game rewards you for exploring the maps by having that money dropped around the maps in different points of interest. So instead of paying $10 to get 1000 spacebucks, you play a couple of missions and you can get whatever is available in the store on that day. And since all the money that you find is shared, the game really rewards you for playing with your friends, because 4 people will find more loot than a single player will. The only thing that I dislike about the monetization is that it seems like the store refreshes every day, or in other words, it seems that you get new cosmetics in the store every single day. So some people that suffer from fear of missing out will in fact spend a lot of money so they don't miss out on a certain skin or emote. But all in all, I would say that this is by far the most fair monetization model that I have seen in a game in the past couple of years. And I have to give it a 9 out of 10 grumplings, because the game doesn't cost 70 to 100 bucks as the modern AAA games do, yet it gives you the AAA title experience without making you pay more than you initially did. And trust me, I hate the fact that we live in an era where it's normal to pay for skins, but at least in this game you can unlock all of them by just playing the game. But let's talk about the graphics. The game is just gorgeous. Honestly, I didn't expect much, especially because it is a multi-platform title and it needs to run good on a PS5. But damn, it looks amazing and cinematic. The lighting is phenomenal, and VFX of explosions and bullets flying, bouncing off of hard surfaces, and destroying robots or killing bugs are simply astonishing. Now, I do have a really good PC with a water-cooled 4090 and a Ryzen 7950X, but even with a beast of a PC, some titles still struggle to maintain a constant frame rate. Not this one though. I have maybe noticed 3 frame drops total in the 22 hours of playtime, and I don't think it was because of the visuals. I believe that it was just the server syncing the players up, because we had on the same server a Korean, a US guy, and then me, and I'm from Serbia. Serbia. It is not Siberia or Syria. It's Serbia, and it's in Europe. Jesus. On top of real good graphics, the game has dismemberment and terrain deformation mechanics. It is just an amazing experience shooting limbs off of robots and bugs while they're jumping at you, or seeing the terrain deform from an airstrike or mini-nuke that you planted on it. There are a few glitches here and there, and it might be just the engine limitation or simply a human error. Some used weapons or parts can be suspended in the air, and some explosion and smoke effects can be weird from time to time, but it didn't ever get in the way of the gameplay. So all in all, I will give the graphics a 9 out of 10 because it looks amazing while running really good on my PC. The only issue is that some of the particle and smoke effects seem a bit outdated, but they are not that bad for them to be distracting. And in the end, let's talk about my favorite topic, or the music and the sound effects. The sound in this game is top-notch. Being a sound engineer and a music producer myself, I can't tell you how glad I am to say that this game did literally everything right. The music in this game is something that needs to be experienced, because it makes the game even more cinematic. It has well-written melodies like Robocop, the epicness of the Starship Troopers soundtrack, and the suspense of the Star Wars score. It's honestly one of the best parts of the game, and it embellishes every fight and every scene in the game with the grace of 1,000 nuclear bombs going off at the same time, making just enough energy to forge a super super soldier like the universe has never seen before.
Dude, what the fuck?
Honestly, it is that fucking epic, and my viewers know how much I can bitch about music being bad or boring in a game. On the other hand, the sound design is of a AAA quality game. Every gun sounds realistic or like a real big-ass weapon that you would bring to a fight against an alien invasion, and the explosions sound like you're really there, feeling them in your gut. It feels like the developers went for that super realistic sound that games like Squad have, and honestly, it just fucking slaps. And since I know that most people think that music and sound design are not as important, even though they might be even more important than the graphics themselves, I'll cut this segment short, but I'll say this: I rarely give a game a 10 out of 10 score when it comes to the sound design and music, but this is the easiest 10 out of 10 I have ever given to a game. And I would even give it a 12 out of 10 if I could, but I can't because I don't set the rules. Oh no, wait, but I do, because this is my channel and I can do whatever I want to. So this is the easiest 12 out of 10 score that I have given a game ever. This game has set the bar so high with its music and sound design that I think that it will take a lot of years and a lot of games to try and dethrone it. But in the end, let me share my thoughts and my final verdict on this game. And as I've said already, what this game offers is some pure, unadulterated fun. And I haven't had this much stupid fun in years. For the price of only 40 bucks, you really can't go wrong with this game. Especially if you're into games like these. And I gotta be honest, I am not. And I went into this game super skeptical, expecting to make a bad review on it. Simply because I don't see the point in shooting down hordes and hordes of enemy NPCs and doing nothing else. That whole repetitive game loop just isn't as appealing to me as it may be to a larger audience, but I'm happy to say that this game is much more than that, and it made me start to love the genre again. I would say that the game is missing some variety when it comes to gameplay for sure. I mean, I already talked about jetpacks that will keep you up in the air for a couple of seconds, or big-ass swords that you could use to slice through enemies, but I'm not a developer, nor do I want to be a backseat developer. But as a player that fell in love with this game, I can see a lot of untapped potential here. And even though the game currently has solid pillars to stand on right now, I don't think it will be a game that most people would play for a long time unless they start adding some different gameplay elements to it. I mean, I can go to Narnia right now and imagine how cool it would be to have a tank or a mech suit in this game, but it might not be the same vision that the developers have. So I would love to hear from the developers, or for them to give us updates on what they are planning to do in the future of this game. Don't get me wrong, the game doesn't feel like an unfinished product. It is actually pretty polished, and the gameplay mechanics that it has right now are very refined, but I would love seeing the developers strive for more, so they can give us the best goddamn Starship Stormtroopers game ever. Hey, so it's Grumpy the editor here, and it's like 2 a.m. and I'm very tired, but I've been trying to make like some footage here, and I'm getting this. So, yeah, heads up, I think like a massive fucking YouTuber or a Twitch streamer made a video or did something, because for 3 days I didn't have a single issue, like since the release, and now I can't even fucking log in. So, yeah, it might stay like this, but don't say that I didn't warn you. That's all. I would also love to see PvP or PvPvE, or player versus environment, in this game, but again, I don't know if that's even possible if the servers are capped at 4 players. So all in all, my viewers know that I'm very harsh when it comes to rating games, but this one gets a solid 9 out of 10 grumblings, simply because it came out of nowhere and it shook the world by reminding us that games are supposed to be fun, and that they shouldn't be taken too fucking seriously. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and share your thoughts in the comments, and I gotta thank my patrons and my YouTube supporters, members, whatever it's called. Thank you guys for supporting me, and if you want to support me, there's a link down in the description of the video, or like a membership link thingy button on YouTube. You know how YouTube works. But yeah, there's also merch. It's mostly like Star Citizen and space stuff. Oh, I'm not even wearing my merch. That's very, very unprofessional of me. I'll change that in the next video. But again, thank you for watching, and don't forget to bring a towel when you're traveling through space, and mwah.